What Shabana Mahmood is showing is a sort of single-mindedness to withstand political pressure, because she's really controlled immigration, despite a lot of her backbenchers wishing she hadn't, but also doing it because she realises that the pressure that immigration control will then do on the economy is exactly the kind of pressure which we need to repair the economy, to repair society, and to get employers looking at the local needs and hiring them, rather than saying, give us more immigrants because we can't find anybody to take the job.
Well, yesterday we were talking about the internal arguments already within the Labour Party about who should be Chancellor. According to the Times, the smart money is on Shabana Mahmood, the current Home Secretary, becoming Chancellor of the Exchequer. In his Times column today, Fraser Nelson argues she's already shown economic vision, and her record as Home Secretary demonstrates she's prepared to fix a broken model. Fraser joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yesterday, Fraser, the Times copy was full of disgruntled MPs saying Shabban Mahmood has not said anything about her sort of fiscal vision for the country. Why are you convinced otherwise?
Well, that's strange, because when you look around the cabinet, I think that Shabana Mahmood probably has more of an economic clue than almost anybody else. And why is she controlling migration? Why is she pushing it right down 85% off its peak? That's not because she doesn't like foreigners. It's because she wants to improve the economic model. And in so doing, she has probably done more than anybody else in the cabinet to promote it. Migration is so important because for a long, long time, employers have looked to import people rather than recruit locally or train people up. Now, that is the most important economic problem we've got. It's not the debt levels, it's not the GDP levels, it's the disconnect between employers and the people seeking jobs, or rather not seeking jobs, around them. If you repair that, then you repair the British economy. And to repair that, you need to tell the employers, right, we're cutting off the tap here. You're going to have to be more imaginative. If you're at a care home, you're going to have to offer more money, perhaps offer a skilled wage for a skilled job rather than an unskilled wage. That's what Shabana Mahmood wants to take. And as far as I can work out, that is a very coherent economic vision, a lot more than her critics seem to realise.
Why do you say that? What do you think the critics have misunderstood?
Well, first off, I think the critics just think Ed Miliband should be there by some kind of divine right. I'm not sure Ed Miliband's ideas, he does have economic ideas, but the problem is they're not terribly good ones. The net zero idea has not done very much for the environment while doing a lot of harm to industry, to living standards.
I mean, Ed Miliband would say that's a longer term strategy that we haven't seen the fruits of yet.
Yeah, he might do, but Ed Miliband will probably tell us that he's going to decarbonise the grid by 2030, but that's absolutely not going to happen at all. It's a fantasy. This is a problem that I think for just because you've got some economic grand theory, it doesn't really mean to say you qualify to be Chancellor. In the British system as well, we tend not to be able to pick experts from this field and that field. We go with the politicians that we've got. What Shabana Mahmood is showing is a sort of single-mindedness to withstand political pressure, because she's really controlled immigration, despite a lot of her backbenchers wishing she hadn't, but also doing it because she realises that the pressure that immigration control will then do on the economy is exactly the kind of pressure which we need to repair the economy, to repair society, and to get employers looking at the local needs and hiring them, rather than saying, give us more immigrants because we can't find anybody to take the job.
You found something quite interesting. I know that you've been in Blackpool the last few days, but you've been meeting with employers who you say are doing some of that work already, thinking about who it is they're going to employ and how you then attract in those young people who the needs, not in education, employment or training.
Yes, and I actually think this is one of the most exciting and optimistic trends happening in Britain right now. I was at Fenwick, the beautiful Fenwick department store in Newcastle a couple of months ago, and there the Fenwick family had convened this big conference as to how local employers can hire more neets. So they had people there, they had people, the employers, the people working with neets, they had other community leaders all getting together to work out how they can solve a local northeast crisis. Now, you had a similar meeting in Blackpool last week. All around the country, we are now seeing employers get together thinking, okay, this is a real crisis and all of us need to get together and work out what can we do to persuade young people to get back in the labour market. If you look at Amazon, that's actually doing a lot of work there too, because they need people for their warehouses. They want to persuade people that this is a career. So we can see a kind of regional agenda. And Barnsley Council started all of this. It came up with a magnificent report about welfare reform, saying, look, the migrants are going. That's a problem for us here in Barnsley. So they commissioned Ellen Milburn to chair a review into the local employment levels and the welfare system. Now, Milburn then took that and went on to lead the NEATS review, which reports at the end of the year. So we're starting to see something we haven't seen for a while in Britain. Ideas coming from the regions about how to fix the local economy and then making their way down to London and influencing national policy. This is a kind of repairing process.
In some ways, they've had to do that, those employers, because Shabana Mahmood's immigration policies caused a problem for them, which I expect she is hoping will be a short-term one. Is she the right person to then engineer the fix to it, to encourage younger people to take up those jobs that traditionally maybe they thought, I'm not going to do that?
Well, yeah, I think so, because I think what she's showing is that the problem with the British economy is at the bottom, it's not at the top. Like, the problem is when you go to some of the most deprived parts of the UK, the local labour market is completely broken. People can see no reason to take a job, because if they do, they'll be worse off. Now, the combination of tax, of welfare, is absolutely killing the British labour market at the bottom rungs. In fact, they can't even see any rungs to the ladder. People I've spoken to when I was in Blackpool last week say that you almost get mocked now for having a job in some areas because it will make you less off. You get primary school kids who aspire to be on benefits because when they look around, they can see the people working. I've got less money to spend than the people who aren't working. Now, you need to fix this to fix the British economy. This is our economic problem. I do think Shabana Mahmood gets it, and I think as Chancellor, she would be encouraging of welfare reform and finally start to see the problem from the other end of the telescope, and that's what we've needed all along.
Do you think the party at large is behind welfare reform?
At the moment, absolutely not, but it's never been sold to them. This should be the easiest programme to sell to the Labour market. I mean, Shabana Mahmood has done it. She has said, look, we're the Labour Party, the clue is in the name. If this party cannot fix the work incentive, if we cannot make sure that people working are always better off than being on benefits, if we cannot turn off the migrant supply and force employers to look locally, then we don't deserve a name of being a Labour Party. Now, that should not be a difficult argument to sell. This country badly needs a party of the workers. Why shouldn't that party be the Labour Party?
Yeah. Final thing, Fraser, a word that keeps coming up. We heard it yesterday from Labour supporters of Andy Burnham, and we heard it from Andy Burnham himself as well, is hope. He's absolutely trying to start his time off as Prime Minister, when that officially starts on Monday, with this optimistic vision. Are you hopeful for what he'll be able to achieve as Prime Minister?
My general view is to give people the benefit of the doubt until they prove you wrong. So I'm going to go along with it right now. I hope that Andy Burnham's got more of a clue than he appears to do. I hope that there is an agenda buried beneath all of these sort of short-form videos and New Order playlists. So, I'm going to, I live in this country. I hope, as everybody hopes, that he is going to sort out these problems. So I think the British public are fair-minded people. Right now, if you look at his rating, it's about 0, which is about as high as it gets for a British politician. Keir Starmer was a -40. If he manages to deliver and show people right to place their hope in him, he will do very well. But if he's got no idea and things go badly wrong, that hope will turn to despair, and that will turn to anger very quickly indeed.
And whether he can do as he promises to unite the Labour Party, which is, if he wants, doesn't matter how big your majority is, if there are divisions as deep as Keir Starmer discovered, it's going to be very difficult to engineer those difficult things that he said he's going to do. Fraser, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you. Fraser Nelson, columnist at The Times. You can read Fraser's comment piece today. Mahmood has already shown economic vision in forcing down net migration. The Home Secretary recognised a model that had to be fixed. She is what the Treasury needs.